By the end of this video, you'll have a straightforward formula that won't just make any girl like you, but actually become obsessed with you. However, before we dive in, it's crucial to understand that for this to work, you must be comfortable with yourself and embrace a bit of delusion. Some time ago, I knew a guy who always had girls not only around him, but completely obsessed with him. It baffled me. He wasn't attractive, he wasn't smart, and he had no money. In fact, he was completely broke. I couldn't figure out the secret behind his success with women, and I'm sure you've met someone like him too. Over time, I became more curious about this topic. I started reading books, listening to experts, and after years of study, I finally uncovered his secret. I vividly remember asking him how he did it, and he'd always reply with, "I didn't do anything. I'm just handsome, and girls naturally like me." As I mentioned earlier, he wasn't attractive at all, so looks clearly weren't the key. But there was something else. He was unknowingly doing something powerful. Whenever he spoke to a girl, he acted as if she already liked him, which in turn made the girls actually like him. I know this may sound confusing, but don't worry, I'll break it down for you. This guy had convinced himself that he was incredibly handsome, and because of this belief, he assumed all girls were into him. His actions reflected this mindset. And this brings us to the technique behave as though the woman already likes you. I'll explain how to put this into action and demonstrate it with the girl you're speaking to. But first, let's grasp the concept. The goal is to project the idea that you're superior and she desires you. As discussed in earlier lessons of this series, women are emotional creatures who respond primarily to feelings and emotions. They will assess you based on the feelings you emit. The key phrase to remember is she feels what you feel. If you can make her feel like she likes you, it doesn't matter who she is, she'll eventually become obsessed with you. Even if she doesn't initially seem interested, act as though she is. This is why I mentioned at the beginning that you need to prepare yourself to be a little delusional. Believe me, I've dedicated years to researching and understanding this, and I've gathered plenty of first-hand experience along the way. I'm not just someone spouting the same advice you often hear online, which usually seems impractical. I want you to trust what I'm about to share in today's video, give it a try, and see the results for yourself. You've got nothing to lose. And when it works, come back and share your story in the comments. Now imagine two people approaching a beautiful girl. The first is just an average guy, while the second is familiar with the technique we're discussing today. The first guy's thought process goes something like this: wow, she's gorgeous. I need to make her like me. Without even realizing it, he's already placed her on a pedestal thinking, she's up here and I'm down here. I need to win her over. So he walks up to her and begins talking, saying things like, I work at a big company, I have a good salary, I work out, and the other day and so on. It's a typical conversation that happens when someone sees an attractive girl and starts listing their accomplishments, trying to showcase how amazing they are. But remember what I said earlier, women are emotional creatures who communicate through feelings. Everything you say will translate into a feeling for her. In this case, her internal reaction is something like, I noticed you and was interested, but you don't seem to like me. Now I need to convince you to like me. Please like me, I need your approval. It's easy to see that this approach will never make her attracted to the guy. Now let's consider the second person who understands the technique we've been discussing. He approaches the situation assuming that the girl already likes him. He sees himself as above her, so he doesn't feel the need to talk about his accomplishments or life stories. He's relaxed, enjoying the moment, and talks about whatever comes to mind. This is the first key: don't try to make the girl like you. Don't dive into stories about yourself or your achievements. I know you probably feel the strong urge to tell her how great you are and list your accomplishments, but I'm asking you to resist that impulse. Trust me on this. When you're talking to her, behave as if she already likes you. Don't try to persuade her. Let go of your desire to impress her with your achievements because they won't be what wins her over. All right, let's move on to the second step. Returning to the first guy after some conversation with the girl, she asks, are you trying to get my attention? The average guy will think, she's caught on. I need to convince her that's not what I'm after. And he'll respond with something like, oh no, I'm not trying to do that, then go on explaining that he just wants to have a good time. Now, how does the girl interpret this? She'll see it like this: he's reacting to what I said, trying to pretend he doesn't care, but it's obvious he likes me and wants my attention. He just doesn't have the courage to admit it. Listen closely, my friend. By responding this way, it's clear you're showing weakness, and at the same time, you're lowering your value. This will make her lose interest in you immediately. For example, if she were to say, that's an ugly shirt, he might respond, oh, it was a gift. I don't like it either. I was just in a rush and threw it on here. He's trying to justify himself, using logic, but as I said earlier, she'll interpret it as him placing her above himself and seeking validation. Now let's look at how the second guy responds, and then we'll dive deeper. She asks, are you trying to get my attention? And he responds with, oh my God, I just met you and you're already thinking like that. So what's the difference between these two examples? Listen carefully, women often test men. Most of the time, they're not even aware of it, but it's in their nature to test men. I'll cover this topic in more detail in another video, but for now, understand that a girl will, consciously or not, try to be rude or critical. This is just part of her instincts, and the best way to handle these tests is to act like she already likes you. In short, there are 3 ways to handle these situations. 1, completely ignore what she says. 2, turn her comment into a joke. And 3, respond with something unrelated. Let me give you a few examples to make it clear. If she says, you sound like a jerk, you could say, oh wow, thanks for the compliment. So, where do you work? If she asks, are you trying to flirt with me? Reply with, no, I don't need to. You're too easy. If she says, you're just trying to get into my pants, your response could be, my mom bought me my own pants. I don't need yours. If she says, I have a boyfriend, simply say, great, he can buy us drinks. So, what's your name again? If she insists, I'm not going to sleep with you, reply with, geez, we just met and you're already bringing up sex. If she asks, are you gay? You can respond, that's what every girl says who can't have me. And if she says, I know what you're doing, say, wow, you must be really into me to try to figure me out already. If she says, I hate you, respond with, that's what every girl says who's attracted to me. An ugly shirt. That's a weak attempt, Missy. It's not going to work on me. Try something better. Why would you assume I want to hang out with you? Don't worry, I'll be done with you after you introduce me to your cute little friend over there. If she's behaving in a way you don't like, here's what you should do. Start walking away and say, this just isn't working. If she's acting upset for no reason, say, oh, you look adorable when you're mad, but be careful, Missy. I might have to take you home and make you sit on a chair facing the wall, just like my mom did to me when I misbehaved as a kid. I want you to replay this part of the video and really absorb it because it's the most important point I've made so far in this series. Now let's move on to the final step. But before that, there's a crucial concept you need to grasp. In our society, anything that's hard to obtain or requires significant effort is seen as highly valuable. This is why rare materials like platinum, diamonds, and gold are so prized. It's not just because they are costly, but because their rarity makes them difficult for most people to acquire, thus making them expensive. When a girl asks you, what did you do all day? Many average guys respond with something like, oh, not much. What about you by doing this? You've just shown her you're just like any other ordinary guy with a dull life. In other words, you come off as easy to get, offering no challenge. Now, let's approach this question differently. Here's what you could say when a girl asks, what did you do all day? You could respond, I did tons of exciting things, but I don't think I can share them with you. She'll likely ask, why not? You reply, well, I'm not sure you could handle it, Missy, and I doubt you can keep secrets. You don't seem that trustworthy. She might say, come on, you can trust me, and then you respond, geez, girl, we've only just met. How do you expect me to trust you? Give me 10 reasons why I should, and just like that, you've taken control of the interaction and shown her that you're a challenge, making her work for your attention. Remember, it's always a game of who's challenging who. Either you're challenging her or she's challenging you, forcing you to prove yourself on her terms. It's always better to take the lead early on rather than let her dominate you. As long as she feels that she has to put in the effort to maintain your interest, the attraction will stay strong. In short, whenever you talk to a girl, treat it like she already likes you. You don't need her validation, and you definitely don't need to work to make her like you. All that matters is you enjoyed your time with her, and that's it. And don't forget to leave a comment about any issues you're facing so I can understand your challenges and address them in the next video. Thanks for watching.